Alright, here I am trying to hide from the sun that's just at the right angle coming through my window. Um, Sunday morning, so there's implications there too. Um, I guess I kind of want to ask everybody to just kind of join me on my journey, and I'm trying to explain on my path to where I've gotten to today on my spiritual journey and how I feel about the Bible and God and Jesus and all that. And it's taken me a long time to get here. I'll be 55 this month. Um, yeah. Um, I, Sometimes it's hard to know where to start because, like a lot of people just say start from the beginning, but I guess I could say I was a kid, grew up in a pretty um, it was kind of a rough situation. Grew up born in 70. I was born in Everett, Washington. Parents were living out there at the time. Uh, I have an older sister. I have a younger brother. Um, Things were pretty tense at times. Things were kind of scary. Um, for the most part, we just kind of ran around freely. We had neighbor kids that we went and played with all the time. Um, and I do remember Mom being more active in the beginning, and then the divorce started to happen, and she was more reclusive, and we just kind of ran around free, and things happened. Um, some traumatic events unfolded. Still surprised I'm here and I'm alive by the grace of God. Um, you can see this burn mark on my head. Um, that happened when I was a little baby. They had those little floor heaters, and apparently Mom turned around and she was doing something, and I went straight for it and put my head on it, and then it stretched out as my melon stretched out. Um, was we When the divorce came around, we moved to another place. And for some reason, I was hanging out one of the windows. At least I think this is correct. Um, After Mom passed away, I was reading some letters, and I seen where Mom was talking about it. Apparently, I was hanging out of one of the windows, and luckily, it was above the porch, or I don't even know if it was really a porch. It was, one of those spots that goes over the door. And I was hanging out the window, and somebody passed by and saw it, and Mom went up and grabbed me, I guess. Sister was never around. She was always playing with her friends, or she was at school. My brother was pretty young, and I think he was still in the crib yet. I don't even know if he was crawling around. Well, I'm trying to remember exactly. I know there was a traumatic incident where we got up before Mom did, and I crawled up on the cupboard, pulled up a chair, crawled up on the cupboard, got myself a bowl, cereal, spoon, milk, made my own breakfast. Basically, I think I was maybe three or four. I don't remember exactly what. And my little brother climbed up on a cupboard that apparently wasn't attached, and there was a hot coffee pot on it. Pots and pans were underneath. Uh, he got his face smashed by one of the pans, knocked his tooth out, and he got burnt all over his body, and that was pretty traumatic. I remember going to the hospital, spent a lot of time in the hospital, spent a lot of time with the babysitter. Somebody was always babysitting us. Just crazy, chaotic. And then, we grew up in the 70s, so, we're Gen X. We kind of raised ourselves, mostly. Except for when we did something wrong, then we were scolded and beat and whatever. Dad was a fighter, a drinker. He was kind of got into drugs and guns and stuff, and so I'm sure he got into some trouble too. And the reason I'm telling you a lot of this is because there's a part later in my life where it was explained that we basically, when we pass away, we're basically put into, like, I don't know, a lot of people might explain it as purgatory. We don't go to heaven. We hang around unless we get to the point where we are enlightened enough to be ascending, kind of like Jesus was enlightened and he understood things that we don't. And I believe that our ability to do this is suppressed by powerful entities on this planet that don't want us to get to that point. Some might call him Satan, some might call him just greedy pieces of dirt. So, kind of had a traumatic childhood. Divorce happened, and then we moved away. We moved back to South Dakota, and maybe a little bit safer environment. Definitely a better education system here. So just growing up and kind of figuring things out for ourselves. That's just the way it was back then. You always wish for something different. You always wish that you had a better life. You had better parents. You had better siblings. You had better friends. You had a better grip on life, a better brain, less torment. And I don't know, it was weird looking back and seeing that sometimes I was suicidal as a child, and that's crazy to me. Yeah, you got the good life, you got the easy life, but you're suicidal. Why? You think there's something wrong with you. You can't, you don't, there's just so much you don't understand. And, you get picked on, mistreated. Sometimes it felt like your parents just didn't want anything to do with you. Heard a lot of "get the hell out of here, go do something, stop bothering me." I don't remember getting hugs ever. Just a lot of, crappy stuff that you hear all these stories about these kids that are completely 100% well adjusted, the way their parents interacted with them, and but now that I'm where I'm at, I'm kind of fine with it. I now understand what God's plan was for me. He put me in this family to learn what I've learned. There's a lot of trauma in this head, and there's a lot of brokenness in me, but there's also a lot of knowledge, and lately I haven't been doing good. I've been kind of reclusive, not going out a lot, and I just feel weird around people right now. But it's also gotten me to the next step and realization of what He wants from me and what's going on this planet, what's going on in the Bible, what's going on truthfully, and my path has set me to where I'm figuring it all out. And there's not a lot of people that can say that. A lot of people aren't there. There are some people that are there, and maybe I just need to find them people. And maybe this is a way to reach out and possibly find them. Going to work every day is not what He wants for us. And the story of Jesus kind of confirms my beliefs, and the more I mull it over, the more I'm like, yep, now I know what He was saying. Now I know what He wants. But they've made it almost impossible to do what Jesus did. They make it impossible there's people that got unalived for trying to take Jesus' path. And with the capitalism, and I'm not saying anything bad about capitalism other than the system that's set up right now, it's almost impossible for you to just walk away and live off the land, which is your God-given right. You should be able to survive without having to be somebody's slave. And we all are slaves right now. We all have to go to work to buy the things we need to survive and help our family survive. And then we get taxed for it. Make that make sense. However, I don't know if you guys remember that song, Age of Aquarius. And here's what's really funny and weird. We are entering the Age of Aquarius. And it's funny that, we got Trump now. And things are really changing. And I know there's going to be some hard times. And a lot of people are complaining about it. But think of it as the reset for the next new age of Aquarius. Just like to say I love y'all, and I hope you don't get too bent on some of the things that I'm going to say, but this is my story, not yours, and it's how I've gotten to where I am. And I can tell you, it's not bad, but it's not great because of how my brain was trained from childhood. TV, Hollywood, government, and just society in a whole. So, hope you enjoy my journey, and I'll see you in the next video.